Well, we'll go with something I think that is on the mind of every pro wrestling fan this morning, Bully, and it was trending number one when we put our heads on the pillow to go to sleep last night, and that is Karrion Kross. Or should I say, Bully, Killer Kross.
What number was it trending?
Number one.
Last night, after Killer Kross put out his YouTube video, he was trending what number?
Number one.
Guy is no longer employed by the WWE. I should say man and woman, guy and girl, Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux, no longer employed by the WWE. And what number were they trending worldwide?
Number one.
I'd say number one with a bullet. Right to the top, trending number one. It's pretty impressive if you ask me.
And Bully, it's all DIY. You know, we talk about this a lot about getting yourself over, taking the opportunities to get yourself over. And what he did last night, and he released a YouTube video at 7 o'clock last night Eastern time. And really it tells his story, not of his life, not of his career, but really just the last week. It starts at our good friend Tommy Fierro's Wrestling Collector last week when he was doing a meet and greet for his new book. And it goes from there all the way up to yesterday, Bully. So I don't think I've ever seen anything like that where there's a documentary almost made on the fly of just the last not even 7 days of what Killer Kross has gone through, the release of his book, and then I guess, quote unquote, the end of his relationship for now with the WWE.
There is a lot to discuss this morning with regard to Karrion Kross. Lots of layers to this, and we're going to get into everything, and we'll probably get the nation involved too. Here's what I was most impressed with. Forget about the details of what's going on with his situation. It's the catching the lightning in a bottle. And, you know, we always go back to the Future. 1.21 gigawatts, bolt of lightning. The only problem is you never know where it's going to strike. But if you do know where and when it's going to strike at that exact moment, you can have your bottle ready to catch that lightning. He told people when this video was going to be released. He counted it down. He created his own sense of urgency. He did the half hour before we go live update, or half hour before it gets released update. There were hundreds and hundreds of retweets and quote tweets. The message was getting out to the world, and then boom, the YouTube video is released. Thus, the We Want Kross trending number one. That is the kind of stuff you salivate for in pro wrestling. Catching that lightning in a bottle, and Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux did it all by themselves. Now, whether or not this is real or unreal, and I'm using unreal, that word unreal, for a very good reason, and we'll get into it. Whether this is real or unreal, we're going to discuss. Nobody really knows. And if anybody knows, it is a very, very small handful, and that's the way it should be kept. Great job by Karrion and Scarlett by creating their own sense of urgency and catching that lightning in a bottle last night. That's the way you do it. That's the way it's done. That's the way you get yourself over.
And it's funny, I just retweeted the tweet of him going live in 30 minutes. And like the comments of people like, LaGreca, you're an idiot. It's a work. Like, how could you fall? Okay, you know what, Bully? Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. Like, that's like you've talked about over the last couple of weeks, a lot of the uncertainty and magic and illusion of pro wrestling kind of being uncovered. Well, these are some of the small situations where we could sit back and get ourselves possibly worked or not. Like, let's enjoy it. Let's fall into it. Like, I'm all about this. I think this is a great job by Karrion Kross. And if it's true and his contract is now over, this is a great job, like you just said, Bully, of taking the time, lightning in a bottle, understanding the significance of the moment, and using it to your advantage. If this is a quote-unquote work and the WWE he's secretly signed with, then this is a great job by the WWE for having these little Easter eggs over the last week to make you think that this is the end of his career in the WWE. Like, this is some of the true magic. And again, this is where I get angry at the fans, Bully, of like, they know adamantly, this is one way or the other. You don't. You don't. Until it actually happens, you don't know. You may think it, but you don't. And that's okay. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room.
Dave, when it comes to the Karrion Kross situation, this can be one of two things: a work or a shoot, to use our insider terms, so you get a 50% shot of getting it right. It's not like you're some Nostradamus and are calling something. You're guessing. You're guessing, and that's the best you can possibly do.
Or I love the term work shoot, which to me is kind of just like jumbo shrimp, you know, like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Which is fine. I mean, to me, this is cool. And I was really into it. I was into the video that I watched last night. You were in that video from Busted Open After Dark, which was awesome. It was great that most of that was filmed at our good friend Tommy Fierro's Wrestling Collector as well. That's good promotion for his store. But it was the things that he was saying, and this is like, you mentioned social media. And a lot of times in the world of pro wrestling, you know, we talk about social media in a negative light, like we are right now about, you know, people wanting to be the smartest person in the room or it being toxic. That was the opposite with Karrion Kross in that video. He was saying, hey, man, I love social media, and here's why. Like, that it's always talked about to listen to the audience. Well, when you're on a Monday Night Raw, the only audience that you're listening to is the audience in that city, in that arena. But social media, even though there's a lot of negativity, even though it's not a perfect science, that's room for people who are outside of that city or outside of that arena to talk about the show that you're on. And he talked about how you have to listen to them too. Yes, you got to listen to the crowd, but you also have to navigate through social media and listen to those people as well. And I loved how he used things to his advantage. Triple H, we talked about it last week in the post show after SummerSlam, where he said, you know, there was chance of we want Kross, and Triple H played it off like it was we want Brock. Or in the Ariel Helwani interview with Paul Heyman, where Paul Heyman was talking about the Karrion Kross situation. He used it. I loved how he used what you said about him and about this whole ordeal in that video. And what it did is it used where people would use the evidence of that this is not real. He's actually shot. He used it to throw it back in those fans' faces.
Right now, as of this moment, on Monday morning, whatever today's date is, Karrion Kross is the most intriguing character in the WWE, period.
Well, let's dissect what you just said, you know, when it comes to Karrion Kross. He made you talk about him. And he did that on his own. I love
you just said that, Dave. I love that you just said that.
And you're talking about a guy, Bully, who doesn't have a major story on WWE programming, had a match at SummerSlam where he lost, which when you look at the scale of SummerSlam about the best matches, nobody's looking back at Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross as one of the better matches from SummerSlam weekend. But what he's done on his own is get fans to talk about him. So you got to give him credit for that, because he's not going to be a guy, because he's found that he's been in that situation before. He's been in a situation before where he was the good soldier. We talked to him about it, where he was the good soldier, where it's like, hey, I'm here. I don't get the hockey mask. I don't get the Lord Humongous thing. And like this poor man's demolition. I don't get it. But you know what? I'm on the main roster. I don't want to make any waves. I'm just going to put my head down, do what they tell me. And what did that lead to? Him getting kicked out the door. So now that he has a second opportunity, he's not going to do the same thing. He said it with us. You asked, I remember, Bully, you asked him when we had him on after the first time he was released. You asked him, what would you have done differently? And he said, I would have spoken up.
Squeaky wheel gets the oil. I was taught that a long time ago. And I'll even tell you who taught that to me. X-Pac. Squeaky wheel gets the oil. And that motherfucker could squeak back in the day.
And that's a guy that, if you look at it, is that somebody that you look at and say, all right, that guy's going to get himself over? Are they going to have creative meetings for him? No. So what is he's got to do? He's got to grab attention on his own. That's exactly what Karrion Kross is doing right now. Now, here's the thing, Bully. If this is a sham and he has signed with the WWE, what he has been able to do is force the WWE to do something with him. If he's gone and his contract, he is now the hottest free agent in pro wrestling. If he would have just sat back, Bully, and not opened his mouth and not done anything on social media and not done anything on YouTube. And by the way, when we've had him on this show, it's because he's reached out to me and asked him to put him on his show. It's not like the WWE was touting Karrion Kross and say, hey, producer Paul, hey, Dave, do you want Karrion Kross on next week? No, Karrion Kross called me and said, hey, can I come on Busted Open? He did that himself. You know, Bully, we know a lot of people, their dream is to get to the WWE. Karrion Kross has been lucky enough to be a part of WWE not once but twice. The chances of coming back a third time is extremely slim. So he's going to go down fighting. He's going to go either way that this goes, he's going to put up a fight.
But the reality is this, Dave. If Karrion Kross was to leave, or the contract came to an end, they both decided to part ways. One guy's got let go, or he quit. Whatever it might be, there's only truly one place for Karrion Kross to go: AEW. TNA, I do not believe is an option because TNA is working with NXT and WWE. Although, if he did show up in TNA, that would make for an interesting crossover story if he ever came back to the WWE.
Well, listen, Nic left the WWE. Now he finds himself being tied to the WWE. We've seen, look what's going on with the Hardys and everything else where they thought that, hey, this is their past and now it's their present because of the relationship with TNA. But I will disagree with you. I think there's more to him, and that's this. He could go the route of a Matt Cardona. He could go the route of doing the indies because now he could probably ask a certain price and he could make a killing. He posted last night, his email address, not Karrion Kross, Killer Kross, for his bookings. I'm sure whether this is a work or not, he got flooded with bookings now that he's a free agent.
I agree with going the Cardona route. Yes. However, you have to really enjoy the grind to go the Cardona route. Matt Cardona loves the grind. He loves working his gimmick table. He loves doing all that. But even he has admitted, and I don't remember if he admitted it on the air or he's admitted it to me, and I don't think he would mind if I said this. And hey, he's one of our guest hosts here on Busted Open, so I'd be more than happy to ask him myself. Even Cardona has said, this grind is becoming a little too much. So now we're not just asking Karrion Kross to do the grind, we're asking Karrion and Scarlett to do the grind. And Cardona works in places sometimes that don't even have dressing rooms. So it's not, I mean, even though Matt Cardona has made it look possible, and it is, and he's made it look good at times, it's a lot easier said than done.
And I get it. And he's, I think he's in, he's in his 40s now, Karrion Kross. So like, the older you get, the less you want to do things, right? But also in a way, even though he's been with the WWE, he's kind of been doing it like almost like he's an independent wrestler. What he's done is, and you know this, Bully, when you're in the WWE, you can't do WrestleCon, you can't do autograph signings, you can't do all that stuff. If you're in the WWE, you're part of the WWE bubble, and you got to go where they tell you to go. You have to go to Fanatics or Fest or whatever they ask you to do. But because he has this book, he's made it a quote-unquote book tour, and he's gone everywhere you can imagine to promote his book, but at the same time, get his word out there to the fans. And what the fans are saying is that we want Kross. They want Kross. Now, how big can this get? That's the thing, Bully. Like, are we going to watch Monday Night Raw tonight, and are we going to hear "We Want Kross" chants on Monday Night Raw tonight? Because I will say this, and let's be honest. We did the tailgate party last Saturday at MetLife Stadium, right? And we asked all the fans, and we had a lot of fans at our tailgate, do you want to see Sami Zayn win when we're doing our predictions? And everybody booed. And then we said Karrion Kross, and everybody cheered. But when it came to the match in MetLife Stadium, I mean, you didn't hear that same reception that we heard in the parking lot. Fans still love Sami Zayn. They cheered Sami Zayn when he came out, and they cheered Sami Zayn when he won the match.
Are you saying that Kross represents the vocal minority live in the arena and the vocal minority on social media?
That's the question that I have. Like, how truly big is this pocket of fans that want Kross?
If we compare him to Truth, and that's the most recent similar situation that has happened, we came on Busted Open, I think the Monday after, that's right, Truth released his tweet on a Sunday, right? Because I was like, who the hell releases somebody on a Sunday? But that's when his tweet was, on a Sunday. That Monday night, you said that there were significant chants of "We Want Truth" in the arena. Mm-hmm. I said I did not hear the same thing, and boy, oh boy, was I listening. I heard a couple of spatterings of "We Want Truth." Could that be WWE screwing with audio? Absolutely. I believe what you heard and I heard are two totally different things. Are we going to hear that in the arena tonight? With the WWE Universe, I think they do realize this, but I don't know if they truly, truly realize this. Their voices are loud. And if they use them tonight, where are they tonight, Dave? Do you know the city by any chance?
Quebec City.
Quebec City. I don't think Quebec City bodes well for Karrion Kross. Would you agree or disagree?
I think if it was Montreal, it would be a different story. Would you agree with that?
I don't even know. I don't even know if it would be Montreal. Obviously, if it's a Kevin Owens or a Sami Zayn or a Canadian. I
don't know. We'll find out.
We're gonna find out.
If you're over, you're over everywhere, right? If you're over everywhere. I will say this, and I go back, and I think Karrion Kross is probably pissed off to hear this because he's probably heard it too many times. It makes him sick. When he was with NXT, it was just NXT knew how to use Karrion Kross, and they haven't on the main roster. Whether it was Vince or Triple H, which surprises me because when Karrion Kross was in NXT, that's when Triple H was with NXT. And I'm just surprised that they just have not used him the right way. The way they used him in NXT, I thought was perfect. for whatever reason, it just never translates onto the main roster. And they've stuck him with some kind of like wonky storylines that honestly have not gone anywhere. They haven't gone anywhere.
I do believe that Triple H wants Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux to succeed because they were part of his NXT and his creation. And if I have my timeline off by a little bit, it's not that big of a deal. That entrance, that persona, that everything has Triple H written all over it. Kross comes to the WWE. Vince gets his hands on him, and this was one of Vince's biggest swing and a miss. And it definitely hurt Karrion Kross. Getting him out of that has taken some time. Unless something has happened backstage that we don't know about, I can't see how Triple H wouldn't want a Triple H creation to succeed. And even if time had run out on Kross, no pun intended, tick tock, now at the 11th hour, when we see all of this stuff and we hear all of this stuff, at the very least, I would think this would make Triple H and the WWE go, whoa, let's pump the brakes on this guy. Let's take a look at it again.
Yeah, one thing I know for sure is what they have done with Karrion Kross lately has been enough for fans to check out. Like, the story with Sami Zayn and then Sami Zayn beating him at SummerSlam, like, why would you be interested in Karrion Kross? Like, whether it was when he was with Paul Ellering or now with this story with Sami Zayn, the WWE has given you every reason to check out on Karrion Kross. But the fans haven't checked out on Karrion Kross.
But maybe, just maybe, that's the plan. To have you check out on him. So this groundswell can happen.
Or they knew that this time was coming and they're like, hey, you know what? This plan we had for Karrion Kross, this story with Sami Zayn hasn't gone anywhere creatively. Let's have him lose at SummerSlam. His contract is up the week after. Let's let him go. It just hasn't worked out.